This is the fastest route available.
You've had months, you've had years from a certain perspective to put together a federal response.
President Joe Biden is now lashing out at his own supporters, his own voters, because he is angry that they're angry that he isn't doing anything to protect abortion rights. Things that are within his own power that he can do today that he is not doing. So in this video, I will get to what those things are from a legal expert, a legal scholar, a Democratic voter, what Biden can do today within his power that he is not doing to protect abortion rights. I will show you the recent Biden announcement and his executive order and some of the reaction to that. And also I will get to this amazing Kamala Harris video. I don't know if you saw this, but oh my God, I'm going to share this as well. It's going to be a moment of levity in this otherwise fairly serious story. But I'll also get to a lot more around this issue. I mean, this is just the clearest example. And I think this is the issue now. You're seeing wake up a lot of Democratic voters, people that normally just, vote blue no matter who and never criticize the party. Now they are seeing just how completely weak Democratic leadership is. And it's important to point out, it is Democratic leadership. Of course, there are members of the party that are trying to get things done, people that are openly criticizing him, that are trying to push him to get something done. But it is people like Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer that are in the way of any actual progress. So on Friday, Biden came out with some executive orders pretending to do something. So he came out with this announcement on Twitter saying, "Today I signed an executive order to protect the reproductive rights of women in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's extreme decision to overturn Roe v. Wade." Wow. Sign an executive order to protect the reproductive rights of women. How can he possibly say this when this is not what he did? But this is what he's claiming he did. Going on to say it formalizes the actions I announced right after the decision and will add new measures to protect women's health. So I'm going to get to a video of part of his speech here, which was terrible. But this is the breakdown of these executive actions. So safeguarding access to reproductive health care services, including abortion and contraception, protecting the privacy of patients and their access to accurate information, promoting the safety and security of patients, providers, and clinics, and coordinating the implementation of federal efforts to protect reproductive rights and access to healthcare. Now, if you have no idea what the hell any of this means, you're not alone. I read through this whole page trying to find, okay, but what are they actually doing? Where's the protections? What are they actually doing? And I wasn't the only one confused. I went online. Am I missing something here? No, this is nothing. I looked at opinions from experts, people that are covering this stuff. They don't know what any of this is. So it is completely nothing. This was an attempt to try and pretend he is doing something. I mean, like safeguarding access to reproductive health care services. What, in the states that currently have it still legal? Like, how about the people that don't have access to it in their state? Again, these are issues that can be addressed with the power that he has, and I will get to exactly what he can do. So anyone complaining, oh, but you're being too critical of Joe Biden, he can't do anything. I will tell you exactly what he can do that he is not doing. And I will get to the backlash that he has, put out from his spokesperson about, you'll see how angry he is at certain people when in reality it's the entire population. But here first is a piece from his announcement, just because I got to comment on a couple things from this speech.
We need 2 additional pro-choice senators and a pro-choice House to codify Roe as federal law. Your vote can make that a reality. I don't think the court, or for that matter, the Republicans who for decades have pushed the extreme agenda, have a clue about the power of American women. But they're about to find out, in my view. It's my hope and strong belief that women will in fact turn out in record numbers to reclaim the rights that have taken from them by the court. And let me be clear, while I wish it had not come to this, this is the fastest route available. I'm just stating a basic fundamental notion. The fastest way to restore Roe is to pass a national law codifying Roe, which I will sign immediately upon its passage at my desk.
All right, so I'm going to get to a lot more, including this Kamala Harris clip that is just bizarre. But first here, the biggest giveaway that these executive orders are nothing is that in his speech about the executive orders, he is focusing on you going out to vote. This is how you're going to save abortion rights, is if you go out and vote. Instead of actually focusing on what you are supposed to be doing through your executive actions that are supposed to save reproductive health care, well, clearly you aren't doing that if you're not focusing on those executive actions, and instead you're focusing on people going out to vote. Look, I get it. Of course, go vote. But you're the president. You have power. How can you expect people to be encouraged to go out and vote when you are not currently using the power that you have? Neither in terms of the bully pulpit and pressuring certain senators to actually have a carve out in the filibuster to codify abortion rights into law, or just your executive power, which I'll get to, executive power that he has to actually protect these rights. And then he goes on there. I mean, the messaging here is so stupid, so bizarre. Talking about how, ladies, it's on you. Ladies, go out and vote. I believe the women are going to save us. Like, instead of actually treating this as a issue of human rights, of healthcare, how it's important for everyone to be involved here, ladies, it's on you. You go out and vote. Like, how demeaning is this? It is so terrible from every potential perspective here, in terms of the politics of it, in terms of his inability to actually deliver a message, in terms of his inability to actually do anything to help people. All around, a horrible politician. And I have to say, as I'm in this moment of anger here discussing this, once again, the left was right. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. How many freaking times do people have to be right before you listen to them? We told you Biden would not do shit. He would not be able to work with Republicans like he claimed to be able to do. From day one, Mitch McConnell said, we are going to oppose his agenda 100%. That's all they have done. Of course, Biden not doing anything, as was predicted. And finally, you have people coming out like Deborah Messing, actor Deborah Messing, who is a big, Democratic voter, supporter of Joe Biden. Even Deborah Messing now is saying, why did I vote for you if you're not going to protect these rights? If you're not going to do what is in your power to actually protect these rights? When you lose Deborah Messing, you know you've gone too far in terms of doing nothing. Now, let's get to Kamala Harris, because this is the moment of levity here in this video. This is so crazy. I don't know. I'm speechless here. Let me play this video and I will, react to this insanity.
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
What? What? How are you the vice president? Somebody, I forget who mentioned this, but somebody mentioned this. How, when you hang around certain people, they rub off on you the way they think, certain phrases can rub off on you. And they mentioned how Biden's dementia appears to be rubbing off on Kamala Harris. Because what was that? Oh, this issue is settled. We believe this issue is settled. Well, that's why we live in unsettled times. Just that was 22 seconds of just saying nothing. And somebody on Twitter, this is my favorite comment to this video, and there are many comments to this video, but Brad Pearson here tweeted out, "This is why I stopped taking edibles before I record my podcast." Oh my God. What is going on at the White House? It's just, is something in the water? Like, what's going on here? It also helps to explain why Kamala Harris dropped out well before it was time to vote in the primary. Not a good politician. All right, now I want to get to some of the other backlash here, or some of the backlash to Biden doing nothing, and the Democratic Party generally not being prepared for this moment. So this is Elie Mystal on MSNBC.
The fact that they haven't had a plan already is a version of executive malpractice. 657 days ago, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. And at that point, that was the starting gun. Everybody who was paying attention, me, you, Katie, we all knew on the day that she passed away that this day was coming, that the day that they overturned Roe v. Wade was coming. That was always part of the plan. And if you don't know, now you know. So for any Democratic presidential administration to come into office 530 odd days ago without a plan to counteract the Supreme Court's clear intention of overturning Roe v. Wade was already a mistake, right? So he's had 2 years almost to figure out what to do, right? Then, as I said in the piece, the Dobbs decision leaked 64 days ago. I also said in the piece that the Texas SB 8, which functionally revoked the right under Roe v. Wade in Texas last September, it's been 300 days since Texas went full Christo-fascist. So the idea that you've only had a couple of weeks to cobble together some kind of federal strategy, I don't accept that. You've had months, you've had years from a certain perspective to put together a federal response to the revocation of women's rights, and we haven't seen that yet.
All right, so I'm going to get to a little more from Elie Mystal on what Biden can do. And you see him here breaking down exactly how unprepared the Democratic Party was. They had all this time. I mean, essentially, they've had like 40 years, 50 years to prep for this, as this is what conservatives have been trying to do, prepping to do for decades, and just completely caught off guard, even after having the leaked opinion come out months ago. And still, the administration had no recourse for these actions. Now, as I said at the beginning, Biden is now lashing out at his own voters and trying to claim that they are a sliver of the actual, country. So this is straight from his White House. This is an on-the-record quote, not some random leaked opinion. This is an on-the-record quote from the White House, meaning this is Joe Biden's opinion, going out from so initially the reporting was from the Washington Post, but Common Dreams reporting it here, saying Joe Biden's goal in responding to Dobbs is not to satisfy some activists who have been consistently out of step with the mainstream of the Democratic Party. Bedingfield, who is White House Communications Director, Kate Bedingfield, said in on-the-record remarks to the Post on Saturday. The White House goal, she continued, is to deliver help to women who are in danger and assemble a broad-based coalition to defend a woman's right to choose now, just as he assembled such a coalition to win during the 2020 campaign. These comments show you the stance that the White House is taking to this backlash. Instead of actually looking at the facts and what Biden can do right now and acknowledging that reality, instead, they are denying their own power and blaming some activists who are out of step with the party when that is not even the case. So treating people that support abortion rights as some, far left activists and out of the mainstream, as opposed to the reality, which of course is incredibly the support for abortion rights is very mainstream, especially within the party. So Shauna Thomas here, who is the co-founder of Ultraviolet, a women's rights group, says mainstream, Biden could double his approval rating and he still wouldn't be as popular as abortion rights. And just to drive that point home, she, of course, is exactly right. Here is the data on that. This is Biden's current approval rating, and this is from 538. So they take a variety of polls and weigh them. His approval rating right now is at 38.4%. You double that, you still aren't even at the 84% of Democrats that currently support abortion rights. And 63% of independents also want abortion rights legal versus 33% of Republicans. And additionally, 63% of respondents overall oppose the Supreme Court overturning the 1973 Roe v. Wade decision, establishing women's constitutional right to an abortion, at least in the first 3 months of pregnancy. So you have here, of course, a vast majority of Democrats support abortion rights, and the vast majority of everybody support it as well. And Biden doing very little, next to nothing, to try and support those rights. Another reaction here from Elizabeth Spears to the Biden White House comments, saying pro-choice people who want the admin to do something, anything for F's sake, are now activists who have been consistently out of step with the mainstream of the Dem Party. Does the administration need some polling to tell them what most Democrats think about abortion? Apparently they do. But instead of actually looking at the data, looking at the facts, and the reality is, I'm sure they know. The White House has to know how popular this issue is. It's just that they don't want to actually do anything necessary to fight for it. Now, let's get to, one more thing here. To show you how mainstream this is, J.B. Pritzker, Governor Pritzker of Illinois, who is a billionaire, this is not a far-left activist who is out of the mainstream. I mean, he's kind of out of the mainstream in terms of his wealth, but this is a very mainstream Democrat in terms of the position he holds, the way he's viewed. He's not left-wing. Even he is saying, I must say that the federal government should be doing more. Even he is calling on the White House to do more, showing you this is not out of the mainstream. Now, last point here. This is, again, Elie Mystal on MSNBC. He is breaking down, again, a legal scholar. He knows what he's talking about. This is exactly what Biden can do with his own executive power to support abortion rights.
What specific executive actions could the Biden administration take right now to provide some relief on abortion rights?
First of all, he should be making abortion services available on federal lands. Federal lands are sovereign from state lands. State laws shouldn't apply to federal lands. And we should be having doctors who are willing to do this. And this is going to be a risk for them. But there will be doctors who are willing to do this, who are willing to pay for them out of their own pocket. That kind of gets around the Hyde Amendment, which, by the way, should also be repealed. And you could provide services there. You can provide services at military installations. The Department of Defense has already said that it will still conduct abortion reproductive services for its for the military, but you could let the military serve civilians on military bases. So those are two very obvious things. 3, abortion drugs, right? There are drugs that are available in some states, FDA approved, that can terminate a pregnancy up to 10 weeks. Those drugs are not easily available. Those drugs are now illegal in some states. Again, at federal institutions, you should be able to go to your post office at this point and pick up your abortion medication, just like you can go to the CVS and pick up some Dayquil. Like that, again, is a thing. Biden can snap his fingers. And people always say, like, Biden can't snap his finger. Biden can snap his fingers and make abortion medication available on federal facilities right now. Right. So those are 3 actions that he can take. Another one, and he's mentioned this, travel, right? Like one of the things that we see red states doing, Christian fundamentalist states doing, is talking about restricting the travel options of people who need to leave state to seek abortion services. Biden said that he will stand with people and their right to travel, but he didn't tell us how. He didn't tell us when. He didn't tell us what policy was going to be in place. From my perspective, the federal government under the Department of Transportation should be providing travel vouchers for vacations. I say that every person who is impregnated in this country deserves a free vacation to California on the federal dime. Biden could do that.
There you go. There's what Biden can do with his power as president that he is not doing. He doesn't need Joe Manchin for this, doesn't need Kirsten Sinema for this, but still he is unwilling to do it. This is why there are criticisms from not just, far left activists, but from the population that supports human rights. So this is why there is that backlash. And for the White House to instead criticize the backlash as opposed to embracing the facts of what they were able to do and actually doing it shows you just how ineffective, weak, and horrible this White House has been.